Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening to all of you. I'm Dr. Faiza Jawad Daud and I'm consultant at ODI. ODI के बारे में आप सब जानते ही हैं और जो नहीं भी जानते तो उनके लिए मैं बताती चलूँ कि ODI कैसे वर्चुअल प्लेटफॉर्म और बहुत सारे पाकिस्तान में ऐसे NGOs थे और बहुत सारी ऐसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस थी जो आइसोलेशन में काम करें. So ODI is a platform where everybody can come and it's an umbrella under which all the organizations working for the persons with disabilities and the people or the DPOs working for the persons with disabilities they have been gathered over this platform and luckily हमारे पास आज इस सेशन में जो मौजूद हैं जितने भी हेल्थ केयर प्रोवाइडर्स हैं I would like to acknowledge them. Dr. Zahid Ali Fahim is the COO Ziauddin Hospital. Dr. Minhaj Akid Wai is the healthcare management consultant. Mr. Firoz Agar, Chairman SH Global USA. Ma'am Aisha Jamal, she is the Chief Care Officer at Inclusive Care Center. And that's it for today. So let me introduce to the topic that is the quality in healthcare for the persons with disabilities. Usually देखा ये जाता है कि persons with disabilities बहुत सारे बैरियर्स का सामना कर रहे होते हैं, चाहे वो किसी भी सोसाइटी में कहीं भी वो कम्यूट कर रहे हैं तो ट्रांसपोर्ट से लेके एजुकेशन ले लें या कोई भी ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म जहाँ पर वो जाना चाहते हैं तो उनके लिए एक्सेसिबिलिटी इज़ अ बिग इशू. इसी तरह हेल्थ केयर आई बिलीव के पाकिस्तान में कर भी रही है और बहुत सारी ऐसी चीज़ें जो हम लोग के शायद नॉलेज में नहीं है वो मैं चाहूँगी कि जो हमारे एक्सपर्ट्स हैं आज के पैनल में वो शेयर करें. मेंटल हेल्थ के बारे में हम थोड़ा सा डिस्कशन करेंगे कि मेंटल हेल्थ कितनी इम्पॉर्टेंट है पर्सन्स विद डिसेबिलिटीज़ के लिए और ये सब जितने भी पैनलिस्ट हैं ये अपना इनपुट भी दें हमें इस बारे में एंड व्हाट रिफॉर्म्स शुड बी टेकन to change this mindset या हम सोसाइटी के लिए हम क्या इनिशिएटिव्स ले सकते हैं सब मिल के as we all are the stakeholders of for this cause. So I would like to request Mr. Dr. Zahid Ali Fahim. इनका मैंने brief intro तो दे दिया था but once again I would like to tell you that Dr. Fahim is working with Dr. Ziauddin Hospital as a Chief Operating Officer and leading this hospital operation since May 2019. एक लंबी list है that he has been associated with Sindh Healthcare Commission, Tech for Life Enterprises, Aga Khan Hospital, Aman Foundation, Dhaka National, and so on. And he is also a master trainer and training specialist and he has provided his services to many organizations. Sir, we welcome you on board. So over to you, sir. हमारा आज का इस सेशन का थोड़ा सा मैं बताती चलूँ कि हम कुछ क्वेश्चंस फ्लोट करेंगे and then you would be able to answer the questions because time is limited. We want that every speaker should have equal opportunity to talk about this issue and participants में भी जो questions करना चाहते हैं तो we would like to address them as well. So sir, over to you, sir. Dr. Zahid Ali Fahim, you may start now. And I would like to know being an expert of healthcare system, what do you think कि हम पाकिस्तान में क्या चीज़ें प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं और क्या ऐसे इनिशिएटिव्स हैं जो हमको लेने चाहिए for the persons with disabilities? Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you very much, Dr. Faiza, for such a nice introduction. And I also appreciate and thanks to Adeed Saab, who have actually invited me on this forum. बड़ा मुश्किल सवाल भी है और बड़ा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड इसको मैं कह सकता हूँ एक चैलेंज है डिसेबल पर्सन के लिए, स्पेशली इन पाकिस्तान. मेरा जो तजुर्बा रहा है पिछले कुछ 20-25 साल में और हेल्थ केयर इंडस्ट्रीज और हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के साथ काम करने में, मैं समझता हूँ कि डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज और जो हेल्थ केयर सर्विसेज में जो आम आदमी है उसको 3 मेजर चैलेंजेस का वास्ता पड़ता है। एक, एक्सेस टू द बेसिक हेल्थ केयर सर्विसेज विच इज अ मेजर चैलेंज। सेकंड इज अफोर्डेबिलिटी एंड थर्ड इज क्वालिटी ऑफ हेल्थ केयर सर्विसेज। ये 3 मेजर चैलेंजेस हैं जो हम समझते हैं कि हेल्थ केयर सिस्टम्स के अंदर हर इंसान तकरीबन ये चैलेंजेस से उनका वास्ता पड़ता है। अगर हम एक्सेस कर लेते हैं किसी भी तरीके से हेल्थ केयर सर्विसेज को, बेसिक हेल्थ केयर सर्विसेज को अगर एक इंसान एक्सेस कर भी लेता है, तो उसके बाद सेकंड चैलेंज जो आता है वो अफोर्डेबिलिटी का होता है। अकॉर्डिंग टू द डॉक्टर एडवाइस, वो उस उसके पास इतने पैसे नहीं होते जेब में कि वो अपनी इन्वेस्टिगेशंस और ट्रीटमेंट को कैरी फॉरवर्ड कर सके। लेकिन अगर हम में से कुछ ऐसे खुशनसीब इंसान हैं कि वो अफोर्ड भी कर सकते हैं, तो जो थर्ड चैलेंज आता है कि अकॉर्डिंग टू देयर नीड्स, अकॉर्डिंग टू देयर सेटिस्फेक्शन लेवल, उनको वो क्वालिटी हेल्थ केयर सर्विसेज नहीं मिल पाती। तो ये 3 मेजर चैलेंजेस हैं। आज फॉर्चुनेटली मैं इनवाइटेड था मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ प्लानिंग एंड डेवलपमेंट की तरफ से, एक बहुत बड़ा वर्कशॉप उन्होंने किया कराची में 5 दिन का, सिविल रजिस्ट्रेशन एंड वाइटल स्टेटिस्टिक्स। और मुझे जान के इस वर्कशॉप में बड़ी हैरत हुई कि हमारे यहाँ बर्थ रजिस्ट्रेशन जो है ओनली 42% है पाकिस्तान में, और डेथ रजिस्ट्रेशन लेस देन 5% है। हम वाइटल स्टेटिस्टिक्स में अभी बहुत पीछे हैं। तो वेरी सॉरी टू से, डिसेबल पर्सन के लिए सोचना, प्लान करना, ऑल्दो बहुत सारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन अपने एफर्ट्स लेके चल रही हैं और उस पर काफ़ी काम कर रहे हैं, तो वो तो बहुत दूर की बात आती है। एक उनका जो बेसिक 6 इंडिकेटर्स थे जिसमें कॉजेज ऑफ डेथ आ जाता है, मैरिड, डाइवोर्स, अडॉप्शन, एक डिसेबल पर्सन का भी उन्होंने इंडिकेटर रखा हुआ था। तो मैं समझता हूँ हमें तो यही नहीं पता कि पाकिस्तान में इस वक्त नंबर ऑफ डिसेबल पर्सन कितने हैं। तो क्वालिटी ऑफ हेल्थ केयर सर्विसेज, आपने एक बात की ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के लिए, तो मैं समझता हूँ कि जो डिसेबल पर्सन है उसके लिए सबसे बड़ा मेजर तो ये चैलेंज है कि वो एक्सेस ऑफ हेल्थ केयर सर्विसेज के ट्रांसपोर्टेशन उसको मिलती भी है तो वो कैसे पहुंच सकेगा हॉस्पिटल। वो डिपेंडेंट रहता है हमेशा अपने किसी ना किसी फर्द के ऊपर। तो मेरा ताल्लुक पिछले तकरीबन 12 साल से डिजिटल हेल्थ और टेलीमेडिसिन ई हेल्थ के प्रोजेक्ट्स के साथ भी रहा है। तो कोविड-19 पैंडेमिक के आने के बाद हमने सीखा, और ज़्यादा अच्छे तरीके से सीखा कि टेलीमेडिसिन टेक्नोलॉजी को हम कैसे इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। तो मेरा एक सजेशन ये भी होगा कि हम अगर एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजी को अगर प्रॉपर वे में इस्तेमाल करते हैं, जितनी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस काम कर रही हैं, मैंने कुछ एक प्रोफाइल डॉक्टर आयशा का मैंने पढ़ा भी कि वो टेली हेल्थ के ऊपर भी कुछ काम कर भी रही हैं। तो अगर हम इस टेक्नोलॉजी को इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं तो हम उससे ना सिर्फ एक्सेस को इंक्रीज कर सकते हैं डिसेबल पर्सन की तरफ, इसके अलावा हम उसकी अफोर्डेबिलिटी का इशू भी रिजॉल्व कर सकते हैं। जो इनडायरेक्ट कॉस्ट होती है ट्रांसपोर्टेशन या अदर इनडायरेक्ट कॉस्ट आती है उसको हम रिड्यूस कर सकते हैं। और तीसरी चीज, हम क्वालिटी ऑफ हेल्थ केयर सर्विसेज को इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं बाय यूजिंग दीज टेक्नोलॉजी। अकॉर्डिंग डॉक्टर मिनाज बैठे में, वो आपको ज़्यादा अच्छे तरीके से बताएंगे कि जो सर्विस डिलीवरी स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं उनके म्यार और उनके स्टैंडर्ड्स के मुताबिक हम ये क्वालिटी हेल्थ केयर सर्विसेज दे सकते हैं।
जी सर, आई एग्री विद यू कि बहुत सारी ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जो कि हमें हेल्थ केयर सिस्टम के अंदर मज़ीद इंटीग्रेट करने की ज़रूरत है फॉर द पर्सन्स विद डिसेबिलिटीज़। मैं यूजुअली जब क्लिनिकल साइट पे एसोसिएटेड थी विद रिनोन हॉस्पिटल, सॉरी टू से जो पेरेंट्स आते थे या जो केयर गिवर्स थे, वो पजल्ड रहते थे कि हम आखिर अगर अपने बच्चे को लेकर जाएं तो किसके पास लेकर जाएं, न्यूरोलॉजिस्ट के पास लेकर जाएं या स्पीच थेरेपिस्ट के पास लेकर जाएं। देयर इज़ नो सिस्टम के उनको गाइड किया जाए प्रॉपर्ली कि कहाँ पे क्या चीज़ अवेलेबल है और वो किस तरह से उससे इस्तेफादा हासिल कर सकते हैं। तो इट्स वेरी डिफ़िकल्ट फॉर द persons with disabilities as well and for the caregivers as well. तो वी हैव टू लुक इनटू इट। पोडियाक का मकसद भी यही है कि हम इन सब चीज़ों को एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे लेकर आएँ और जो इश्यूज़ हैं उनको रिजॉल्व किया जाए। और ये प्लेटफॉर्म, ये कॉन्फ्रेंसेस का मकसद सिर्फ ये नहीं कि बातें करके और हम सब वापस अपनी वही नॉर्मल लाइफ की तरफ चले जाएं। देयर शुड बी समथिंग दैट शुड बी डन फॉर दिस पर्सन्स विद डिसेबिलिटीज़, या फिर वो पेरेंट्स के लिए भी। तो वी आर हियर टू सपोर्ट एवरीवन, वी आर हियर। आप लोग की सारी एक्सपर्टीज और सारे नॉलेज को सामने रखते हुए आज के सेशन में हम चाहेंगे कि हम किसी ना किसी डिसीजन के ऊपर पहुंचे। So thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to invite Dr. Minhaj Khidwai, and he is MD, BS, MPH, MBA, CMC. He is a consultant at Unit Management Company, honorary faculty member at American Institute of Healthcare Quality, and visiting faculty at Institute of Business Administration. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us, and we really appreciate कि आप सब ने अपने बहुत ही कीमती टाइम से हम लोगों के लिए थोड़ा सा वक्त निकाला। सर मैं आपकी तरफ आऊँगी, आपसे पूछूंगी सर, आप क्या समझते हैं कि पर्सन्स विद डिसेबिलिटीज़ जो ऑलरेडी इतने सारे बैरियर्स का सामना कर रहे होते हैं और हम तक पहुंचते हैं, तो आप क्या समझते हैं कि हमारे मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम्स में ऐसी क्या चेंजेस आनी चाहिए, ऐसी क्या चीज़ें हम इंटीग्रेट करें कि उनके लिए भी आसानी हो और आने वाले वक्तों में पाकिस्तान के लिए भी एक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर भी ऐसा हो कि लोग उसको फॉलो कर सकें। ओवर टू यू सर।
Thank you, Faiza, and thank you for inviting me for today's discussion. पहले मैं थोड़ा सा ओवरव्यू एक बात करूंगा कि हम बात करते हैं बेसिकली इन टर्म्स ऑफ पर्सन्स विद डिसेबिलिटी की।
तो वो मैं आपको
सॉरी
काइंडली अपने माइक्स म्यूट कर दें, जो पैनलिस्ट हैं उनके अलावा प्लीज बाकी सबसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि अपने माइक्स म्यूट कर दें।
First of all, I would like to talk in general terms. We use the term as persons with disability. With that in mind, we should consider that every one of us is only few seconds away into falling into that category. This is something I just want to bring into knowledge and conscious level of people over here, that we should not consider them as some aliens or somebody from outside, but we all can fall into that category at any time. So this is the importance that I want to stress through this seminar. And secondly, that estimatedly in Pakistan, there are about 3.3 to 27 million people who fall into the range of persons with disability. So that's a huge range, and the government of Pakistan has provided a quota for 2% of disabled persons to be employed. Unfortunately, that is not being practiced. And even the Pakistan government ratified the Convention on Rights of Persons with Disabilities in 2011, but nothing has happened till date. So what I will do is basically just to give you a brief scenario on 4 basic principles that I apply in life for any project management. And that is basically, we have 4 parameters to discuss. One is the effects on the self. The other step is on the society, the systems, and the state. So मैं self से शुरू करूँगा कि basically जो whosoever is being labeled as person with disability, they should not be feeling something in terms of that curse on the society or themselves. We talk about a term called as ableism. We do talk of sexism, racism, but we do not talk of a term called as ableism, which is used as a derogatory manner for these people who are categorized in that category. So this is something that we have to bring into our conscious level, that this should not be used, and the persons who are in the category of disabilities, they are not inferior people, they are people who are among ourselves, and they live and eat and dine with us. So this is something important, as those people who are in that category, they should not feel demoralized or demotivated, and we should not label them as a category of the ableism, number one. Then they don't have facilities of the jobs that they are created for them in terms of the 2% quota that is there. So they should strive for the job that they are capable of doing, and should pursue in that category where they should get jobs based on their employment. So this is as far as the self is concerned. Then we talk about the society. In that terms, basically this is a stigma, and there are two narratives that I would put over here. One is the traumatized narrative that usually people go with, and then a successful or the overcoming of that traumatization. So this is something that goes on within the society, that some person who is labeled in that category, he is basically victimized or traumatized, and then he, when he overcomes with that victimization, traumatization, he is taken as he has overcome into his own situation. In that category, basically, society should not stigmatize, and especially in these terms, we should use very specific terms that are being promoted. For example, I would say that people say that person is an Alzheimer's patient. This is not an Alzheimer's patient. This is a patient with Alzheimer's. So this is something that we have to ensure, that the people who are labeling them as a person's with a disability, they should categorize them in such a way that they do not feel inferior within themselves. So society has to play a very vital role in terms of getting those people integrated within the system. Then, as far as the system is concerned, I think there are hardly any centers where we can introduce the quality specialized to these people who are there. So I think we need to establish some kind of special centers where, like, I would say that this is kind of a subspecialty of medicine that we should be considering in terms of promotion of actively pursuing these people who are suffering from such kind of disabilities who are there. And then we have to establish some systems for them. Especially, I would say that while we are considering hospitals and their own construction, the policies and the builders who develop hospitals, they hardly bear in mind that they have to consider such kind of a person with disabilities also while they're constructing hospitals. So we have to have that bear in mind, that these are the people who are there, a part of the system, and we should consider them as a part of the system. And finally, in terms of the state, I would say that, as I said earlier, that Pakistan ratified the Convention Persons with Disabilities in 2011, but hardly anything has happened. We need to push these reforms that are supposed to be taking place in this case. And then the other thing is that the Sustainable Development Goals, they also stress on the quality of education and reduction in the inequality, and they provide a hope for these people who are there. So I would say that we all have to work collectively to all these four S's to ensure that the persons with disabilities are integrated into the system. I'll come back later on the solutions later on. Thank you.
Sure, sure. थैंक यू सर. आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा कि वी नीड टू चेंज द माइंडसेट. जो लोगों का माइंडसेट है, हमारी सोसाइटी का माइंडसेट है टुवर्ड्स पर्सन्स विद डिसेबिलिटीज़, कि उनको लेबल कर दिया जाता है कि ही इज़ व्हील चेयर यूज़र या इस तरह की बात. तो ही इज़ अ पर्सन फर्स्ट, देन कम्स हिज डिसेबिलिटी. तो हमें पहले ये सोचना है कि वो पहले एक इंसान है, फिर उसकी डिसेबिलिटी आती है. सेकेंडली, हम यूजुअली जो अवेयरनेस क्रिएट करने की ज़रूरत है या सोसाइटी को सेंसिटाइज करने की ज़रूरत है, वो इस बात की कि ये बच्चे या जो ये पर्सन्स विद डिसेबिलिटीज़ हैं, ये खुदा ना खास्ता ये किसी गलत या किसी क्या कहना चाहिए बद्दुआ का नतीजा नहीं है. उनको दम करवाने जा रहे हैं या उनको मतलब बहुत सारी ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जो हमारे कस्टम, हमारी सोसाइटी का पार्ट है, जिनको हम डिनाई भी नहीं कर सकते. तो ये बहुत सारी ऐसी चीज़ें हैं कि हमें उन चीज़ों को भी, उन चीज़ों से भी निकलना है और एक्सेप्टेंस भी क्रिएट करनी है कि दिस थिंग एग्जिस्ट इन आवर सोसाइटी. Thank you. Now I would like to invite Mr. Feroz Agad. He's the chairman SAH Global USA, and SAH Global has the vision of using the company as a catalyst and to bring the cutting-edge healthcare technology to the developing world. And Feroz Agad Saab is an entrepreneur, with over 25 years of managing multi-million-dollar corporations in industries like healthcare, information technology, real estate, communication, and tourism. And he has also been awarded with the Top 50 Smart Healthcare Leaders Award. We welcome you, sir, for being the panelist of this conference today. सर आप बताइए कि आपके एक्सपीरियंसेस और अब तक जो कुछ भी आप सुन रहे थे रिगार्डिंग द हेल्थ केयर सिस्टम, आपके क्या व्यूज हैं इस बारे में?
जी जज़ाकल्लाहु खैर। अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू। अल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन वस्सलातु वस्सलामु अला अशरफिल अंबिया वल मुरसलीन वल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन। First and foremost, thank you for inviting me, and thank Mr. Ijaz for inviting me on this extremely important topic. ये बहुत ही important topic है. अब मैं माज़रा चाहूँगा कि मेरी उर्दू इतनी अच्छी नहीं है, so I will be speaking in English because I'm
Sure,
born and
sir,
bred
sure.
in the
Sure, sir.
So one of the things that I would like to point out, and 2 points that I've extremely welcomed, was the first point by Dr. Fahim, where he mentioned that there was a conference and there is a subspecialty that is going to be created in Pakistan, and that there was something that was established in 2011. That is a welcoming message that so for someone such as myself who's looking at wanting to invest in healthcare in Pakistan, that's a very welcome message. And Dr. Minaj, you hit the nail on the head. You know, we are a few seconds away from our lives changing. And I actually experienced this roughly about 3 years ago, where there was a child that was stuck under a shelf. He was about to pass away, where it was choking him. I had to crawl under the shelf in order for me to rescue the child. But I had one of the shelves land on the back of my neck, and I had become temporarily paralyzed from my left side. So the point that you make, that we are literally seconds away, is a very important point that I think every one of us needs to adhere to and understand and think about what would I do if I was placed in that situation. In expanding on this aspect, so my company deals with oncology centers. We're in the field of oncology. We treat cancer patients with proton therapy and boron neutron capture therapy. And we do see on a number of occasions where patients will come in where they will have a tumor that is pressing against the cadura, which is the spinal column. And sometimes that pressure on the spinal column will cause paralysis. And a seemingly adult that has gone through his whole life or her whole life, where they have been active, mobile, and then all of a sudden they're classified as disabled, they're unable to do what they were used to doing. But before we go into that aspect, I think it's very important for us to define what is a disabled person, right? Because we consider a disabled person who is, you know, someone that is challenged physically more so than none, because we think, like you mentioned, oh, he's in a wheelchair, or oh, he can't walk, he's paralyzed. But we also have to look at from the mental health aspect. You have cognitive disabilities, and then you also have intellectual disabilities. And under that intellectual disabilities, you also have subcategories such as autism, such as dementia, and the onset of dementia that many of the patients do go through later on in life. You know, so we have to look at disabilities as a whole. And then once we start to understand what a disability is and where it's come from, we need to now understand how we address the issue. And the issue, yes, there is a social stigmatism that is there. Again, from Pakistan, I know, and alhamdulillah, not only am I in the healthcare industry for the past 25 years, I'm also an imam and khatib. So I get to see both sides of the world. I get to see the social aspect, and I also get to see the healthcare aspect. And one of the things that we need to do away with, one of the programs that we need to have, is we need to get people involved that address the social context in terms of disabilities. This is not an adab from Allah. You know what I mean? This is not a punishment from Allah when someone has a child that is born with a disability. It is actually a rahmah of Allah. And we need to change that narrative, because it is a mercy from our Lord that someone has a disability, because now within our culture, within the Muslim culture and the Pakistani culture, we have a family system, which alleviates a lot of the issues that we are seeing in countries such as the US and the UK. So that's the core aspect that we need to look at. And we all need to look at the impact that someone with a disability has, and also some of the challenge that they face. If you look at the CDC and the statistics of the CDC, you will look and you will see that there is a shorter life expectancy for someone that has a mental health issue or a disability issue. And that is a staggering number of 20 years. So a person that has a disability on average will live 20 years less than someone who does not have a disability. And again, as a Muslim, this is the qadr of Allah, but also we have to address what are those things, what are the factors that are contributing towards that aspect. And when we look at it, as someone who runs a number of cancer centers, we actually are looking at this to address the issues, because the first aspect is communication. You have where a person who is disabled that can't communicate what pain they're feeling or what situation they're in. And then when they get to the healthcare system, we have the issue where, again, it's a social, I would say it's a social impacted way of how we treat the patients. And that has to change. That environment in the hospitals has to change. Now, how does that change? We have to look at also the healthcare system. Now, I know I'm listing a lot of the issues. I will come to the solutions as well. But we have to look at the healthcare system. Unfortunately, in third world countries, when we find that our nurse practitioners, our registrars, they are not highly paid. They are actually struggling. They are going through their own issues mentally. And now they're having someone that what we think has a behavioral problem, comes to us, but in reality, someone is suffering from autism, someone is suffering from other mental issues. They may speak in a different manner, or they may speak in a louder voice. They may have some sort of sensory disorder, which the practitioner, the registrar, is not going to be, depending on the mood that they're in, is not going to be able to take down exactly what information we need. Then when you trickle it down and you go further down, you look at, the aspects of the physicians. A lot of the physicians are very stretched in our hospitals. You have a huge population with small hospitals that are trying to take care of a large population. So they won't actually be able to take the time to be able to understand the actual patient, and the patient will go misdiagnosed for many years. And that will lead to severe emergency cases, which then puts a burden on the actual state-run hospitals. Because when they come in, they're coming in with an emergency case, which could have been dealt with in the first instance when they were feeling whatever symptoms they were feeling. Now they come in. In the US, it is estimated that is a $35 million a year burden on the actual Medicare, Medicaid reimbursement, because these patients are coming into an emergency situation. Now, there's a lot of things that we can do. But the first thing that I always say is what the basic rule is education. Is what are we doing right now? I know I've heard that, yes, from the government level, there will be an implementation of education, training, but we as hospital administrators, hospital owners, hospital workers, what are we doing, especially administrators that are at the CEO and the COO level? What are we doing for training our staff? Do we have a training program for staff? One thing that I'm seeing wonderfully is that this is being translated, utilizing hand signals, right? Where lip reading is being done on your actual program. Do we have those implemented in our hospitals? At our proton centers, at our cancer centers, we try to have someone that can communicate through sign language and through lip reading, right? Do we have that implemented? Do we have a program which we have started to implement, a weekly program where we are actually training our healthcare staff on how to deal with people that have disabilities, right? Do we do this on a weekly basis? Do we have a reminder that we're going through that these are the steps that we're doing? I can go through and list, the CDC has listed out 6 core competencies. The UK disabilities organizations have listed out how we can actually address some of these situations. We should actually look at twinning with these organizations and seeing what we can do, but it has to start at home, and it also has to start within our own organizations. I come on and I can speak about the issues, but what am I doing to address the issues, and what are the ways to address the issues? And I think knowledge, education, training is key. And there's one other aspect, because we talked about different hospitals and different doctors and communication. We need to treat people with disabilities just like we treat an oncology patient, as a multidisciplinary aspect and a multidisciplinary patient that we are dealing with. And most importantly, it is not just a patient, it's a human being that we are dealing with. And that human being is just like me and you. And any of us, as Dr. Minaj said, any of us can fall into that category within a matter of seconds. May Allah guide us, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us. And thank you very much for having me. And I really, really am appreciative of the efforts that you guys are doing. And please do let me know how I can help you guys out in any way, shape, or form. I am here to help.
Thank you so much, sir. And I would like to second you that really communication is a big issue for the persons with disabilities. And sometimes we get irritated if we cannot deliver what we want to say to the person standing next to me. And also अगर हम बात करते हैं normally कि हम किसी और province में अगर पाकिस्तान के for example चले जाएं and we can't speak Pashto or any other language, so does it mean कि we will become disabled? It's just the thing कि how we should communicate our message or through which means we can communicate the message. And for this, I would like to invite Miss Aisha Jamal, and she is the co-founder and chief care officer at the Center of Inclusive Care, and she is UK CPCAB certified psychotherapist as well, and she has been in this industry for the last 15 years, and she is also serving in education management. She is also serving in educational departments, and she is helping others, and she is one of the pioneers in setting up the special needs departments in many reputed schools. And she has also published her papers in autism around the world conference in Dubai, and she's the pioneer of the teletherapy services for healthcare workers during the COVID. Ma'am, I would like you to speak about कि COVID की वजह से भी वैसे भी एक person with disability, they have higher level of they have higher stress levels. ठीक है? Then according to a research, in fact मेरा thesis भी यही था that जो caregivers है उनका stress level क्या होता है when they go to any hospital या घर पे ही अगर वो उनका एक बच्चा है स्पेशल नीड्स के साथ, तो उनका स्ट्रेस लेवल कितना होता है एज कंपेयर टू नॉर्मल पर्सन्स. ठीक है, तो स्ट्रेस लेवल के ऊपर, मेंटल हेल्थ के ऊपर मैं चाहूँगी कि आप थोड़ा सा हमें बताइएगा. प्लस कोविड के बाद जो सिचुएशन है, आई वांट यू के मेंटल हेल्थ के ऊपर किस तरह से हम, हाउ कैन वी कोप अप विद these issues during the situation. Over to you, ma'am. Are you there? Hello?
Hello, Faiza. Faiza?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Faiza, I just want you to repeat your question. I lost you there for a bit.
मैं ये कह रही थी कि आप जैसे कोविड सिचुएशन में everybody is समझ लें एक तरह से उनके स्ट्रेस लेवल्स वैसे ही हाई हैं कि वो बाउंड होकर रह गए हैं, आइसोलेशन में हैं, इस तरह से हैं. तो एज अ मेंटल हेल्थ practitioner, what do you think, what should we do to overcome such situations? Plus persons with disabilities के लिए what do you think कि आप शेयर कीजिए अपने experiences कि what should be done to cope up with these issues?
Okay. Thank you, Faiza, first of all, for inviting me to this forum. I just heard all the speakers, and it was really enlightening to see the insight that each one of them had and some really important points raised. I just would like to start with the fact that, you know, when I was running my first project in 2012 with a multidisciplinary team, and at that time, उस वक्त कोई इस तरह सोच नहीं रहा था कि, you know, सब pockets में काम कर रहे थे in isolation और बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे थे. लेकिन एक स्कूल में मैं काम करती थी और वहाँ मैंने महसूस किया, I felt that that ये बच्चे जो थे वो from one you know, therapy to another, ये लोग travel कर रहे होते थे, parents बहुत परेशान होते थे. So जो आप बात कर रही हैं stress level of caregivers, I think what I experienced at that time, मुझे mental health की मतलब मेरी खुद की training इतनी you know, I was working as a remedial therapist there and I built a special needs department. और उस वक्त जो मुझे feel होता था, and that came across as projection कि society में awareness create करना कितना challenge था, पेरेंट्स के लिए जो वो फेस कर रहे थे वो कितना चैलेंज था कि फ्रॉम पिलर टू पोस्ट उनको बच्चों को लेके जाना फ्रॉम वन थेरेपी टू अनदर. आई थिंक वो सारा जो स्ट्रेस और जो जिस तरह सोसाइटी बच्चों को देखती थी, so I think, you know, right from the beginning, from the level where they heard the first diagnosis or they learned about the challenge of their child, I think वहाँ से जो parents और caregiver का जो stress level होता है ना वो शुरू होता है. और उस जगह अगर support उनको नहीं सही मिले या उनको information सही नहीं मिले तो वहाँ से stress शुरू होता है. और स्ट्रेस जब इंसान तब महसूस करता है ना जब वो बहुत अनसर्टन होता है और उसको लगता है होपलेस फील होता है. So wherever they look, they feel that there is no hope for them because अगर आप हेल्थ केयर सिस्टम में जा रहे हैं आपको नहीं पता कि किधर आपको जाना है. तो मैं तो बहुत छोटे पैमाने में काम करती हूँ एंड जो आई थिंक what was really required, I think जब हम brainstorm किए तो हमने ये सोचा कि you know, as human beings हम एक दुनिया में आए. We were born into one world. We were born into one communities, in one homes. Then why the segregation? So what is that mindset that is excluding people who are differently abled? So I think that was the question that we asked. And I think वही mindset के साथ जब हमने काम करना शुरू किया तो हमें ये एहसास हुआ कि you know, systemic approach बहुत important है जो अभी Mr. Feroz और Mr. Feroz कह रहे थे. That, you know, a social model के साथ काम करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. And अगर हम caregivers burnout को नहीं उसके ऊपर तवज्जो नहीं देंगे, then we are actually long term हम इन बच्चों के लिए जो primary support है उसको हम neglect कर रहे होंगे. And I've seen that, I've worked with so many parents और जो वो face करते हैं अगर उनको right support मिल जाए ना, because at the end of the day they are the ones who are the primary you know, caregivers. उनको अगर सही टाइम पे society अगर support कर दे, whether it's family, you know, starting from homes, family हो गई, you know, when they go to schools, when practitioners. तो वही बात आ जाती है कि education that is holding that child, क्योंकि मैं तो early intervention पे बहुत believe करती हूँ. And ये जब बच्चा पैदा होता है, and when I hear this, it's heartbreaking जब I think, was it Mr. Fahim who said कि only 42% birth registration होती है. So I can just imagine कि कितनी चीज undetected at an early stage चले जाती है. तो जो crucial age होता है जिसमें आप intervene करके काम कर सकते हैं, वहाँ parents are at loss. तो आधे, the WHO research also says that rural areas में तो people finance की वजह से mental health care facilities नहीं reach कर सकते, लेकिन they opt for traditional faith healers. Right, faith does play a huge part, but we all know कि वहाँ पर क्या काम हो रहा होता है, and we've heard really disturbing stories as well. So right help at the right time can only come with education and awareness. And I think ये pandemic के time में I would say कि जितनी awareness due to the virtual world, this virtual world, we had access to so much जो पहले नहीं था. मैं अपनी अगर इदारे की बात करूं तो हम लोग लॉकडाउन से पहले ऑनलाइन चले गए थे. And what we saw was, we felt that mental health became more accessible and more consistent. There was less people canceling sessions. This was our personal experience as an organization. We felt because commuting के issues होते थे कराची में बहुत, एक जगह से दूसरे जगह पेरेंट्स थक जाते थे ला के बच्चों को, because अगर वो नाज़माबाद में रहते हैं और हमारा सेंटर अगर क्लिफ्टन पे है तो उनको लाते में ही उनका जो बर्नआउट होता है, that was another story. So we felt like, I feel that as a solution, I think COVID, yes, these are unprecedented times and बहुत stress है, but I think mental health को जितनी focus और जितनी attention मिली है ना, I think world over इसको इससे पहले कभी नहीं मिली थी. So yeah, so I don't know. I think there was a third thing also that you had in mind, that what should we do during this time for the mental health? Is that what was your question, Faiza?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing is that क्योंकि हम सब की, because of these times, हम सब, because we are facing a collective danger, तो हम जो regular population है उनका भी amygdala light up हुआ हुआ है, that part of the brain that tells you that you are in danger. So हम इतना जो absorb कर रहे हैं social media से और हर जगह सुन रहे हैं, and obviously what we are witnessing, तो हमारा जो neuro system है वो certain तरीके से respond कर रहा है. And I think, can you imagine the stress level of people who are already under some sort of stress, or will be, raising children with challenges in a country like Pakistan with very less health facilities, and let alone health facilities, mental health facilities, तो इतना taboo है और इतना stigma है attached. So I think, just understanding the kind of stress and challenges these parents have faced. But I also feel, sorry, I hope I'm not taking too.
So sorry, sorry for interrupting. What do you think? What early interventions should be taken to just identify these disabilities? या जो identify हो गई है disabilities, उनके लिए क्या early interventions होने चाहिए? क्योंकि हमारे साथ कुछ पेरेंट्स भी मौजूद हैं, तो वो भी हमसे पूछ रहे हैं कि आप बताइए कि इस पर्सपेक्टिव पे, एंड आई वुड लाइक कि बाकी भी जो हमारे स्पीकर्स हैं वो भी थोड़ा सा इसके ऊपर बात करें कि व्हाट अर्ली इंटरवेंशंस शुड बी टेकन. क्या अगर क्लिनिकल डिसेबिलिटीज़ हैं तो हेल्थ केयर सिस्टम में क्या हमारे पास ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जिनको हम आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं, और अगर वो डिसेबिलिटी हो गई है तो व्हाट्स नेक्स्ट, अब क्या करना चाहिए उन पेरेंट्स को या उन केयर गिवर्स को?
I think, I don't know who would like to go first.
So Fahim, would you like to answer this question?
And yes, why not? Thank you very much, Faiza, again. Really, very interesting discussion going on. And for your question right now, I have a couple of suggestions and solutions in my mind that when I was working with Aman Foundation and leading the telehealth program, I was first time realized that there were many health helplines in Pakistan topics. Mostly, although mostly they are working for the reproductive health and child abuse, sexual abuse, and many other things. But we have realized that there are many organizations working on mental health problems as well. But the problem in Pakistan, every organization working in silos. Uh, and because of their own decisions, individual working efforts, they have missed lot of things. Rather creating awareness and readiness in Pakistan and especially targeting the real person जो हमारे माशरे में जो उस हालात से गुजरते हैं वो अपने हम इन सारी हेल्थ हेल्पलाइन को एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे लेकर आए और इंटीग्रेट करें और एक 4 डिजिट नंबर हमने कोशिश की थी उस वक्त जैसे 9123 है और मैं थोड़ा सा अपना एक्सपीरियंस भी शेयर करूंगा कि हम उस हेल्थ हेल्पलाइन में हमने काफ़ी कॉल्स ऐसी रिसीव की जो रियल मेंटल हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम से गुजर रहे थे एंड वी हायर्ड एक्चुअली क्लिनिकल साइकोलॉजिस्ट जो उनकी काउंसलिंग्स कर रही थी एक हमारा सक्सेस स्टोरी बड़ी मशहूर हुई थी वी एक्चुअली प्रोटेक्ट द डाइवोर्स ऑफ द कपल जो नियर था डाइवोर्स में बिकॉज ऑफ देयर डोमेस्टिक प्रॉब्लम्स और उसके बाद वो उनको इतना काउंसिल किया गया कि उनकी डाइवोर्स को प्रोटेक्शन की गई मेंटली वो स्ट्रेस में थे काफ़ी उनके प्रॉब्लम्स थे और उसके बाद उनका एक बच्चा भी हुआ तो हमारे पेरेंट्स को ये मैसेज देना ज़रूरी है कि फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल दे हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई द सर्विसेज मैं बार बार यही कहूँगा कि नाउ डेज टेक्नोलॉजी इज ग्रोइंग वेरी फास्ट अगर आप देखें तो 5G दुनिया में आ चुका है टेक्नोलॉजी हर जगह मोबाइल फ़ोन मौजूद है स्मार्टफोन मौजूद है तो बिफोर गोइंग टू हॉस्पिटल any person with disability either physically or mentally they have to actually call first health helpline कि जी उसको उस वक्त क्या प्रॉब्लम है और उनको किस जगह जाना चाहिए मैं आपको बताऊं हमारे यहाँ डिलेज जो आते हैं स्टार्टिंग एनी ट्रीटमेंट वो यही है कि वो सही जगह नहीं पहुंचते कोई भी चाहे कोई भी मैं पेशेंट की बात कर रहा हूँ विद तो विदाउट डिसेबिलिटी वो सही जगह पहुंचते ही नहीं है काफी पैसा उनका और काफी टाइम उनका जाया हो जाता है जब कॉम्प्लिकेशंस ज्यादा क्रिएट हो जाती हैं फिर वो किसी सही फिजिशियन या सही स्पेशलिस्ट के पास जाके पहुंचते हैं तो हमें कम से कम ये अवेयरनेस और रेडीनेस क्रिएट करनी चाहिए कि जितनी भी हेल्थ हेल्पलाइन पाकिस्तान में काम कर रही हैं और जो उनसे रिलेटेड हैं वो डायरेक्टली कॉल कर सकते हैं उन हेल्थ हेल्पलाइंस को और काफ़ी टेलीमेडिसिन के अभी मेंटल हेल्थ प्रोग्राम्स आ चुके हैं जो ऑनलाइन काउंसलिंग्स होती हैं जिनको ऑनलाइन काउंसलिंग के थ्रू वो पहले मालूम तो करेंगे हमें जाना कहाँ है एंड देन डिसीजन लेके उनको आगे परस्यू करना चाहिए दूसरा जो ट्रेनिंग का फिरोज साहब ने बात की बिकॉज आई एम ऑल्सो मास्टर ट्रेनर और हम वाकई इस ट्रेनिंग पे बहुत ज़्यादा फोकस करते हैं ट्रेनिंग इज नॉट ओनली द नर्सिंग स्टाफ इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक कि जी हमारे डॉक्टर्स और नर्सेस उन पर्सन विथ डिसेबिलिटीज को कैसे कैटर करते हैं कैसे डील करते हैं उनके साथ कैसे बिहेव करते हैं बट इट शुड बी अ रेगुलर प्रोग्राम थ्रू अवर मीडिया सोशल मीडिया का आज अगर आप देखें तो बहुत बड़ा एक बहुत बड़ा मीडिया है जिसमें हम अपना वक्त जाया कर रहे हैं टिकटॉक बॉस जैसे चैनल टिकटॉक पे दे रहे हैं हमें हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को आगे आना चाहिए और मीडिया को इस्तेमाल करते हुए उसमें अवेयरनेस क्रिएट करनी चाहिए देखें अगर तो हमारे उन लोगों में अब जैसे मिनाज साहब ने कहा अबाउट फ्रॉम 3.3 to 27 मिलियन लोगों में अगर ये अवेयरनेस ही नहीं होगी कि मुझे जाना कहाँ है मुझे अपनी हेल्प कहाँ से लेनी है, वो रेडीनेस ही नहीं होगी तो आगे तो फिर और दूसरे प्रॉब्लम्स और ज़्यादा हैं। तो उस लेवल पे हमें अवेयरनेस और रेडीनेस क्रिएट करनी होगी ताकि हम प्रॉपर जगह पे सही टाइम पे पहुंच सकें।
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर। एक और चीज़ जो देखने में आई है, डिप्रेशन इज इटसेल्फ एन इनविजिबल डिसेबिलिटी। डायबिटीज़, ये भी अल्टीमेटली किसी न किसी फॉर्म में इट लीड्स टू डिसेबिलिटी। ओल्ड एज, ये सब चीज़ें तो वो हैं जो सब नॉर्मल लोगों के साथ हो रही हैं, लेकिन इट अल्टीमेटली रिजल्ट्स इन सम काइंड ऑफ डिसेबिलिटी। तो डॉक्टर मिनहाज किदवाई, आप व्हाट डू यू थिंक कि अगर ये सब चीज़ें हैं तो हाउ टू ओवरकम दीज सिचुएशंस?
Thank you, Faiza. Very wonderful and knowledgeable discussion, especially by our friend, colleague Agat from US, who has shown so many ways to cooperate and collaborate with us in Pakistan. And I welcome him that maybe after the meeting we can work out something. For your question, I would say that we have to look into a management aspect for dealing with this issue. And in management, we have five specific aspects. We start with our inputs, we put them into a process, we get our outputs, we get our outcomes, and then ultimately the impact. But when we are planning, basically in terms of dealing with any issue, what I usually recommend that we start with the impact, that exactly what impact we are looking for towards in terms of the implementation process, and then what we inputs that we need. And we always start for the need for the inputs in terms of the needs assessment, that what are the needs that are there in the prevailing in the society that we need to address, and then we prioritize those needs. As far as the dealing with the diabetes or other mental illnesses, I think that we need to ensure that, again, I will come back to my own sort of philosophy of the 4S that I quoted earlier, that in terms of the self, the person should be feeling being a productive part of the society. So that feeling has to be inculcated into the person uh, through himself, through his peers, through awareness programs, through the family and people around, that he should be feeling a part of the society as a productive part, not as a person with disability or dealing with ableism factor that I said earlier. Secondly, the society has to sort of look into its own self. May I would say the introspection की हम बात करेंगे इसके अंदर सोसाइटी के हवाले से कि सोसाइटी की नीड्स क्या है और क्या इम्पैक्ट सोसाइटी चाहती है अपने आप को चेंज करने में. Exactly what gains we can get from this person who's having this person with disability, and how that person can be integrated into the society. And I think that your organization and others and the platform that we are using today, that is where what we need, that we need to have such kind of a dissemination, information generation, and ultimately leading to those people who are facing these crises, and involve those people to become a part of the society as an integral part, I would say that. So we have to take a proactive role in terms of working society. As far as the systems are concerned, I would say that healthcare quality needs to be improved in terms of when we are building hospitals. We need to build the mindset, the that these are the people that are there in society, and then we have to consider while we are building any building or keeping any block, that these people exist in the society as a subspecialty. I would say that there are a lot of specialties we deal in clinical systems, and we always think of improving systems on quality in terms of the hospitals. But at the same time, we have cardiology center, we have uh, kidney centers. We need to establish quality centers for these people who can come over there. And then at the same time, when we are dealing these centers and building these centers, we need to train and we need to have the capacity building of people who can take care of such people in those centers. So capacity building again is very important as far as the systems are concerned. And then we need to build those institutions, provide those resources, and involve the society within those systems. So systems has three basic parameters, as I said: institutions, resources, and the people. So we need to incorporate all these three factors in the system. And then at the same time, the state needs to improvise in terms of considering these people as an integral part of the economy and growth of the state. So that mindset again has to be established within the policymakers of the state. So these are the impacts that I would say that we can start with, and then build a foundation based on these factors, and build the building so that we can identify the needs, and then put those inputs and put forward them into a processing them center. And then at the same time we get the outputs and the outcomes that leading towards these impact that I just discussed. Thank you.
थैंक यू, थैंक यू वंस अगेन। सर जी, मैं तो कहती हूँ मेरे शायद बाल सफ़ेद हो चुके हैं अब तक ये सब बातें सुनते सुनते, और हम रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे फिर से अपनी प्राइवेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को भी, अपनी जितनी भी गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, ये सब की वी ऑल आर द स्टेक होल्डर्स, और हम सब का फ़र्ज़ बनता है कि हम इन सब चीज़ों को अपने सिस्टम्स में इंटीग्रेट करें। वंस में एक लैब का हमने विज़िट किया, तो वेरी फेमस लैब, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली उस लैब में कोई रैम्प भी नहीं था। तो सोचे अगर एक व्हील चेयर यूज़र या एक ऐसा पेशेंट जो कि स्ट्रेचर के ऊपर आ रहा है, तो वो कैसे उस लैब के अंदर एंटर हो सकता है। देन वी एडवाइज देम टू बिल्ड अ रैम्प। सो बट ऑन द वेरी नेक्स्ट डे उन्होंने फिर वहाँ पर रैम्प बनाया और उसको एक्सेसिबल बनाया। प्लस इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की भी जब हम बात करते हैं, तो आप लोग चूँकि इतने सब मेडिकल के शोबे से आप लोग सब रिलेटेड हैं, और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर्स के ऊपर मैं कहती हूँ बहुत काम किया जा सकता है। एक्सेसिबल वॉशरूम्स और इस तरह की चीज़ें हम लोग क्यों ना प्रैक्टिस में लेकर आए। इवन बैंक्स और मतलब जो भी सेक्टर्स हैं वो सब अपने तौर पे जो भी इम्प्लीमेंटेशंस कर सकते हैं फॉर द पर्सन्स विद डिसेबिलिटी, inclusion and empowerment के लिए, we should do that.
Faiza, उसके लिए we need to have those things in the minds of those people who are working and building those things. जब तक वो mindset create नहीं होगा, हम आगे इन चीजों को implement नहीं कर सकते। तुम गई लैब में, वहां पर तुमको कहना पड़ा कि आप रैम बनाए उनके लिए ना, तो ये कहने वाली बात नौबत आनी ही नहीं चाहिए इन चीजों के लिए।
जी डॉक्टर भाई, बिल्कुल आप ठीक करें। डॉक्टर आयशा जमाल का हमारे प्रोजेक्ट में एक वेबिनार है, तो मैम बिल्कुल आप वो उस वेबिनार के लिए जा सकती हैं। हम थोड़ा सा डिस्कशन क्योंकि बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग चल रहा है, तो वी वुड लाइक टू टेक फ्यू मोर मिनट्स, और फिर आगाज साहब से भी हमने कुछ और बातें पूछनी हैं। तो थैंक यू डॉक्टर आयशा जमाल for joining us today, and we will be joining your webinar as well, inshallah, soon. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I just have one thing to say, that this should not be the last of the conversations that we have, and not only on this platform. I think it's time for action. Like I think someone in the panel said that there are a lot of pockets of good work that is going on. It needs to, people need to come together in the fraternity in order to share what is working, what is not working, and then really take action. I think that's what's required. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
फिरोज साहब, आपकी इजाजत से अगर मैं डॉक्टर चतवाई ने भी बात की और जो सब बात हुई है यहाँ पे, उसमें मैं आप लोगों के सिर्फ 2 मिनट लूंगा, और उसमें बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग ये आप लोगों की विजडम से हमें बेनिफिट लेने का मौका मिल रहा है। So basically, sir, Dr. Chadwai, Podiak is the platform which was planned in 2018 के तकरीबन अगस्त में हमने इसको रिसर्च किया। फिरोज साहब knows us that we are covering events, healthcare events especially all over the world, especially in UAE, Arab Health और बहुत सारी और ऐसे हमारा चैनल है जिससे हम कवर करते हैं। तो Podiak के पीछे ऑब्जेक्टिव भी यही था सर कि UNCRPD पाकिस्तान ने साइन किया था 2011 में। उसके बाद से थोड़ी बहुत प्रोग्रेस देखने में आई जो पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटीज को मेन स्ट्रीम में लाने के लिए, लेकिन सबसे बड़ा क्वेश्चन मार्क हमारी स्टैटिस्टिक्स पे है कि according to WHO 32 million persons are living in Pakistan with some form of disability, और according to our own census in 2017 हमारे पास 1 मिलियन से भी कम काउंटिंग है। उसकी बहुत सी वजूहत हैं, कुछ इंटरनेशनल डेफिनेशंस का फर्क हो सकता है, लेकिन इतना बड़ा फर्क नहीं है। प्लस हम अभी क्योंकि बात हो रही थी कुछ स्टिग्मा की भी, डॉक्टर किदवाई ने भी जिक्र किया। स्टिग्मा एक तो माजूरी का शिकार होने का स्टिग्मा है। अभी आप लोगों के डिस्कशन में मेरे जहन में आया, मैं हमेशा बात करता था कि डबल स्टिग्मा हो जाता है, जहां हमारी कोई बहन, बेटी, वालदा माजूरी का शिकार हो जाएं, तो पाकिस्तान के कल्चर में एक औरत होने का स्टिग्मा, दूसरा माजूरी का शिकार होने का स्टिग्मा, तीसरा स्टिग्मा सेहत की ये केयर के लिए, हेल्थ केयर के लिए क्या उसको क्लिनिक या डॉक्टर के पास ले जाया जाए या ना ले जाया जाए, ये स्टिग्मा। तो आई थिंक ये तीसरा स्टिग्मा इस वक्त हमारी जो आप लोगों की डिस्कशन से ऐड हुआ है इसमें। तो सर बेसिकली पॉडियक का मकसद ये कि पाकिस्तान भर में ही नहीं बल्कि पाकिस्तानी जहाँ कहीं पे भी हैं, वो तमाम स्टेक होल्डर्स जो साइलोज में काम कर रहे हैं, और हमें अपने अदराक भी नहीं है कि हमारा चैलेंज कितना बड़ा है। जब स्टैटिस्टिक्स होंगी तभी तो हम पॉलिसीज बना सकेंगे। गवर्नमेंट हेल्थ केयर जो एक्सपर्ट्स हैं वो सोच सकेंगे कि मुल्क के इस हिस्से में ये वाली डिसेबिलिटी ज्यादा है, तो उधर कौन सी पॉलिसी अप्लाई की जाए, कौन सी अवेयरनेस क्रिएट की जाए। अभी बात हो रही थी डायबिटीज की और एम्प्यूटी होने की, तो सर वो प्री क्लिनिकल डिसेबिलिटीज की डेफिनेशन में कौन कौन सी चीजें ऐसी आती हैं जिसमें प्राइमरी अवेयरनेस की जरूरत है। अगर डायबिटीज की प्राइमरी अवेयरनेस हो जाए, उसकी केयर हो जाए, तो फाइनली ना कोई ब्लाइंड होगा, ना ही वो खुदा न खास्ता उसके आज़ा कोई उसके जिस्म से जुदा करने पड़ेंगे। इसी तरीके से हाइपरटेंशन और बहुत सारी और चीजें ऐसी हैं। कैंसर के जो पेशेंट्स हैं, फिरोज साहब प्रोटोन थेरेपी के माशाल्लाह एक्सपर्ट हैं इसमें, कि कैंसर के पेशेंट्स हमारे यहाँ कंसिडर नहीं किए जाते पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटी। हालांकि वो सोशल, उनकी जो सर्वाइवर्स हैं जब कैंसर के, उनकी वो सोशल एक्टिविटी नहीं रहती जो कि एक नॉर्मल इंसान की होती है। तो अगेन पॉडियक का प्लेटफॉर्म सर इसी मकसद के लिए बना था, और इसमें एसोसिएशन ऑफ बिल्डर्स एंड डेवलपर्स को भी हमने इंगेज किया, इसमें इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ आर्किटेक्ट्स पाकिस्तान को भी इंगेज किया। इसमें हमने गवर्नमेंट को कोशिश की कि जहाँ कहीं पे भी पाकिस्तान में स्पेशल एजुकेशन, सोशल वेलफेयर, सिंध का जो DEPD है, ये तमाम इदारे एक साथ आए, बताएं क्या कर रहे हैं। हम कराची डाउन सिंड्रोम प्रोग्राम एक छोटा सा प्रोग्राम पूरे मुल्क में समझ लें, वो कैसे हम सिंध डाउन सिंड्रोम प्रोग्राम में कन्वर्ट करें, उसकी कैसे कैपेसिटी एनहेंस करें, कैसे उसकी सक्सेस को शेयर करें कि उस जैसे पंजाब डाउन सिंड्रोम प्रोग्राम, KP डाउन सिंड्रोम प्रोग्राम या पाकिस्तान डाउन सिंड्रोम प्रोग्राम वो बन सके, कैसे उसको हम कैपेसिटी को एनहेंस करें, कैसे हम स्ट्रेंथ एक दूसरे से शेयर करें। तो दिस इज द ऑब्जेक्टिव बिहाइंड फॉर्मिंग दिस प्लेटफॉर्म ऑफ पॉडियक। तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह आज हमें ये सक्सेस हुई, और अगेन वही बात है कि हर क्राइसिस में एक अपॉर्चुनिटी होती है। अर्लियर इट वाज प्लान टू बी हेल्ड इन कराची एक्सपो सेंटर, बट कोविड का जो पेंडेमिक है और जो हमारा बड़ा एक चैलेंज है, उसने हमें कम से कम ये अपॉर्चुनिटी दी कि हम इसको डिजिटल पे ले गए, और हमें इस वक्त पूरे पाकिस्तान से, पेशावर हो, बलूचिस्तान हो, कोई सा भी इलाका हो, वहां से लाहौर हो, कराची हो, हर जगह से स्टेक होल्डर्स ने ज्वाइन किया हुआ है। तो सर आप लोगों की सरपरस्ती की जरूरत है। मैं छोटी सी, क्योंकि एजेंडा इस तरफ निकल गया था और मुझे बड़ी खुशी हो रही थी कि हमने इस पे भी बात की बिल्डर्स और डेवलपर्स में कि ओके फिरोज साहब, सिर्फ ये एक आखिरी लाइन है, उसके बाद फिर आप क्लोजिंग अपने रिमार्क्स दे दीजिएगा। यू हैव टू, फिरोज साहब ने जुमा पढ़ाना है तो उनको जाना होगा। सर हमने ये अवेयरनेस क्रिएट करने की कोशिश की कि लिफ्ट बोलती क्यों है, उसके बटन्स पे डॉट्स क्यों हैं। इन्फॉर्म्ड डिसीजन लें बिल्डर्स, सिर्फ इसलिए नहीं कि उस बिल्डिंग में ये लगी है तो मैं भी ये लगा लूं, इस तरह से डिसीजन नहीं लें बल्कि इन्फॉर्म्ड डिसीजन लें। सर दिस इज ऑल फ्रॉम माय साइड। फिरोज साहब प्लीज आप अपने क्लोजिंग रिमार्क्स दे दीजिए, उसके बाद फिर हम डॉक्टर मिनाज किदवाई और डॉक्टर फहीम शेख से।
जी इजाज भाई, आपने you mentioned something very important, बहुत ही important चीज आपने बात की है with regards to standards. Pakistan में देखें, I came to see if I wanted to build a cancer center in Pakistan जब हमारी पहली मुलाकात हुई थी तकरीबन I think 2009 में अरब हेल्थ में, जब हम एग्जिबिट कर रहे थे। So we had come to look at the standards. one of the problems that you have is not just in healthcare facilities. The problems that we have in Pakistan is that there are no regulation standards that are there to address the disabled people, whether it's building a ramp, whether it's for the blind, whether it's looking at, you know, little crevices or lips that are in connecting corridors. हमारे hospitals में भी आप देख लें, alhamdulillah, there are some hospitals that are doing wonderful. मगर if you look at the other aspects, for example, labs, you know, I think it was Dr. Fozia, you mentioned, Dr. Faiza, you had mentioned that you had to tell the laboratory to build a ramp. Now, one of the things that I've noticed in Pakistan, and again, this has to deal with the fact that Pakistan is now emerging out and becoming a second world as opposed to being a third world country, because we have a higher means and a higher population of the middle class. But in order to address the population, the critical needs of the population, you had entrepreneurs, innovators in healthcare that went and looked at ready-made buildings that did not have the healthcare standards that should be there. And they established facilities because they saw that there was a major need in order to address that need, right? And now we're having to retrofit all of these aspects to take care of the growing population demand. And that becomes an issue because what happens is a precedence is now set. In order for you now, the others, like you said, it's a monkey see, monkey do type of society. उसने ये किया है तो मैं इस तरह से कर रहा हूँ, अच्छा ठीक है, इसके पास ये buttons हैं that deal with the blindness, तो मैं भी install कर लेता हूँ just so that I can fit in with what's going on. अगर वो health regulations already implemented हैं, and these are coming from, as Dr. Minaj said, they are from the highest level in terms of the policy makers. Now, the problem is also, हम जो हैं policies तो पाकिस्तान में बहुत ही हैं. देखिए, we have a wonderful system that we haven't talked about right now. It's called I think it's called Sihat Insaf, right? Which is an insurance system for those that are disabled. Only based off of this 1 million number that you're talking about, which is completely inaccurate. I would think that you're talking about on a population of 270 million, you probably have roughly about 25 to 30 million people that will be classified as disabled. And of that 1 million that is reported, only 60% are utilizing the Insaf, right? The insurance. So the key is, and something that was pointed out by Dr. Aisha and also Dr. Fahim mentioned, is that we have to turn to what the society is actually going towards. The society is engulfed in social media. The amount of cases that I have to deal with as a health practitioner and also an imam, where I'm dealing with, well, my child is constantly on social media. We need to take that narrative and take the negative and turn it into a positive. How do we do that? We need to start inviting. Now, I don't know who your social media influencers are in Pakistan, but Brother Ijaz, you have a platform through Exhibitors TV, right? Invite those that are social media influencers in Pakistan. Invite them in. Yes, they sometimes charge, but someone that has the human appeal or has humanity within them. If you're inviting them to talk about a disability, don't just invite them, but ask them to do a blog once a month or a post once a month, on their channel through TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever everything is. Twitter is something that your CEOs are very much on. Telemedicine is very important. We are doing a program right now where through an organization that I'm one of the trustees on called the BBSI, the British Board of Scholars and Imams, where we are doing healthcare workshops for imams, for scholars, and for teachers and health workers. And we can look, I will speak to the organization. If we can arrange for training to be done online, we will take the mental health toolkits that we have developed and we will implement in Pakistan. I'm saying this on live, on a live session. I am willing to put in the time, not just in Pakistan, but anywhere where this is needed, because this is something that is important. But also the other side that we have to look at with telemedicine is that not only do you address the patient situation, you can also address one thing that Dr. Aisha mentioned is in the rural areas, there is a lack of education amongst practitioners, but we also have a lack of education when it comes to caretakers, home caretakers. Utilize this platform. Everyone has a mobile device that has, the ability to be online, to go online. Everyone can go and have a FaceTime or a Zoom or whatever you want, a platform that they can go on that they can see. What they need is someone to lure them in order for them to be able to watch it, make it cool, as we would say, for the young population. Because we've got such a huge young population, I was looking at the World Economic Forum when we were doing strategy for investments inside of Pakistan. We found that there's a huge youth population that is in Pakistan. And that average mean age is between 25 and 32 years old. That is the age that is connected digitally. And then we've got another population that is 27% that is between the ages of 1 and 18. Utilize that aspect to our advantage. Bring in the social media influencers, have a session with someone who's autistic, have someone with a session where they show, we have these feel good sadaqah things, right? Where we see all of these messages on YouTube, forwarded videos where someone is going and dropping a bag off to someone that is sitting on the street. And then we say, oh, mashallah, kitna acha kaam kiya hai, usne jaake paise diya. Yaar, change the way we do this. Rather than dropping the bag off, usko jaake aap job de. आप उसको आपकी कंपनी में ले आए. अगर हमारे पास ये we have a shortage of understanding disabled people, आप जाके जो
I'm interrupting you.
Yes.
But you were getting late for the.
I know. I need to go for Juma. I know.
Yes,
I need to go for Juma. I just want to mention one thing before I go.
Sure.
Is that we have to now. How do we make a change? How do we make a positive change in Pakistan? We need to take those that are now experienced in healthcare, those that are experienced in healthcare, not from the clinical side, from home side, the one who sees their mom and dad taking care of their brother and sister, bring them in and give them a job in our hospital because they've seen and they've lived how they took care of someone with a mental disability. Give them a job, right? Give those that are struggling and bring them in and let their experience teach us on how we should deliver the care also. And the last point that I'm going to make, I think anyone and everyone, and Brother Ijaz, if you can give me a copy of this session, I have a pretty large healthcare network that I work with that are investors, health practitioners, operators. Give me a copy of this video. I will start sending this out to everyone that I know. Let's come together. Dr. Minaj, Dr. Fahim, Dr. Faiza, let's all come together. Dr. Aisha is gone, but please, let's come together and give our time that we are already giving, but give a little bit more time to make something like this happen. The last point is, I know how it feels because my third child, my son, is on the autistic spectrum. And for the first 2 years, me and my wife were completely confused, didn't know what was going on. He couldn't speak, couldn't do anything, right? And then we learned. And that experience taught me more than what my 20 years of experience inside of a cancer center and a hospital has taught me in these years that I've done. Inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. Everyone that's listening, support Podiac financially, physically, time-wise. Support this organization. Let's all come together. Remember, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Allah loves those that hold on to the rope of Allah in jama, in togetherness. And let's keep that going. Inshallah. Jazakallah khair wa ma alayna illa al-balagh. I have to go for Jummah because I have to give khutbah, but I think I already have a topic that I'm going to talk about today. Inshallah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Khairul sir.
Thank you. Inshallah, we will share the link with you. And now I would, is there anything any panelists would like to add on, or shall we move towards the conclusion of the session? Shall we move on? Okay. So again, thank you, Mr. Minhaj Kidwai, Ma'am Aisha Jamal, Honorable.
Faiza, I just want to say something that currently I am in process of developing a Center for Health Innovation and Transformations. Okay.
Right.
And I would like to offer this center's support to the Kodiak, and maybe we can see exactly what are the requirements and how we can work towards the capacity building and any innovations that are required in terms of dealing with the person with disability. So maybe I'll request if you all can come and we can meet later on, so see what are the resources that can be provided to work together. Thank you.
Inshallah. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So thank you everyone for bringing their expertise and experience around the table and engaging in such a fruitful, constructive and open exchanges through this session. And thank you, Sir Dr. Zahid Ali Fahim, Dr. Minhaj, Mr. Firoz Agad, and Ms. Aisha Jamal for taking out time. And that's it for today's session. Tomorrow we'll be having another set of sessions, and we'll be talking about the disabilities and poverty reduction strategies in developing countries and the inclusion and rehabilitation of persons with disabilities through recreation and sports. That's all from Kodiak conference today, and signing off from Kodiak now, and have a good day. Allah Hafiz.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah
Thank you,
Allah Hafiz.
Faiza and Adeeb. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Allah
sir.
Hafiz.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.